And also, this is not a comprehensive list of all the symptoms that you'll experience when you're stressed out. These are just common symptoms that we are talking about. You might experience something very different. But with this, we are trying to bring about that awareness of you acknowledging and asking for support when you are not managing and not coping well at a certain stage in your life. Some of the physical symptoms of stress include aches and pains. So these include body aches and pains, indigestion. Diarrhea is a common physical symptom that we see in students. Chest pains, racing heartbeat, you either lose weight or you are gaining weight, and you have frequent colds, so you start getting sick frequently. You might have a bout of cold, and maybe 2-3 months later you get another bout of cold, so you start getting sick frequently. That's a sign that your physical body is saying that something is not right about your emotional well-being. Because our body, in our cells, we need to be aware of, to work holistically within ourselves as well, interpersonally, to be holistic, which means that with our physical symptoms, we also need to work on and be aware of for our emotional well-being. If we are not experiencing any physical symptoms, we need to always make sure that emotionally we are doing good as well. Because if we are not doing good emotionally, then our body has ways of telling us that something is not right.
And also, according to a lot of research has shown that stress can manifest in a different way. It's not just a feeling or emotion. And also, a lot of evidence pointed out that a lot of Asian people, when we experience distress, usually it shows up more in terms of physical symptoms instead of mental health symptoms. So by recognizing from time to time you might have repetitive issues, but the doctor couldn't really tell you what it is, it might be wise to consider or seek help from counselor, and just to see could it be something more than just a physical issues.
And the last symptom of stress includes behavioral symptoms, which means you either have, you start eating more, so your appetite either increases or decreases, and you start eating more or eating less. You either sleep too much or sleep less. So eating patterns and sleeping patterns are two things that are quite common when we are stressed out. And depending on the individual, it either increases or decreases. We start isolating ourselves. So again, we don't want to go out with our friends. Things that we enjoyed socializing, if we enjoyed socializing, we don't want to go out with our friends anymore. We just want to stay home and we just want to be alone. We start procrastinating, so we start putting things off. So if we have to study for an exam, or if we've got an assignment due, then we start putting it off until the last minute. We just feel we don't have the energy, or we don't have the motivation to do it, and we just put it off and off and off until the last minute. And sometimes we don't do it at all. We start neglecting responsibilities, which goes hand in hand with procrastination. So procrastination, on the one hand, some of us, are natural procrastinators. We like to do things last minute, and we put things off, and it gives us, that's how we operate. That's how we work. When we are under pressure, we work best when we're under pressure, and that's fine. At the end of it, we still get the job done. But when you're emotionally unwell and you're procrastinating, you don't get at the end result is you don't get the job, you don't do your assignments. You put it off and until the last minute, and in the last minute end up not doing it. You put off studying for an exam, and in the last minute end up not studying at all and not sitting for your exam. So that's the difference between people who procrastinate and that's how they work, and procrastinating because you're emotionally unwell. You neglect responsibilities, so you know your attendance at school might be really low. You stop going to classes. You again neglect your responsibilities as a student, and also you start using things such as alcohol or other drugs as a way of coping with the underlying stress. And this in your mind might be a healthy way to deal, or a healthy way to deal with the stress that you're experiencing. But using alcohol, using drugs, using outlets such as gambling is an unhealthy way to cope with stress. But these are the behavioral symptoms at that time when we are under that amount of stress and we are emotionally unwell. At that period of time, in our mind, we might believe that, oh yeah, this really helps. Itting alcohol or going to gamble really helps, but it's not a healthy coping mechanism. Over time, it'll escalate to levels where you are not only well emotionally, but your physical health will also deteriorate.
And I used to be international student, as you can hear from my accent. When I first came to New Zealand, I came with a friend of mine, and we both were study at the one of the university. And my friend somehow not able to attend classes for consecutively about 2 weeks time. During that time, you know, like he was just saying he's feeling tired and not able to get out, and unknowingly I thought he was just being lazy. So certainly now when I look back, I understand, you know, like my friends were feeling isolated and actually feeling quite distressed of missing family and home, and therefore he was a bit depressed and not able to get out from bed. So that's one of the potential behavior symptoms, and which quite often many Asian countries have think that individual is just being lazy. However, what we are talking about here is sometimes if you dig a little bit deeper and investigate a little bit more and talking to individual, one might find that actually the person is not simply just being lazy, but it might actually because they have some mental health issues. So